Greetings and welcome to the Compassionate Culture, your program that we get to deal with daily life issues, and we get to, the whole compassionate thing, just like Jesus, feeling compassion on people, and that's exactly what we get to do right here on this your program. And we get to develop such sensitive issues that could help you, issues that could help somebody. So of course, I'm not riding solo as usual. She is here, live, loud, and in charge, Miss Mazita Adiola Mwayera. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Last week, we had an intriguing story. Okay,
Yeah.
An intriguing story about you, a story of a fighter, a story of courage, a story of picking oneself up. Okay, but we didn't finish it. It's just like any story, everybody probably wants to hear what happened next. What happened next? I guess that's what we want to hear. All right, so you had spoken about how you were now beginning to pick yourself up. You've accepted the fact that stuff has happened.
Yeah.
All right. Now you've got the support of your family, like you mentioned. So now, what then happened after that? You have picked yourself. You're trying to in this upward trajectory. You are still in school. You have failed your final exam. What happened next?
Okay, so I have failed my final exam after all this has happened, right?
Yes.
The anatomy exam that I had to do. So, after I failed, so with how I was learning, it was different. You couldn't carry, what they mean when they say carry a subject or a module to the next year.
Sure.
It meant if I failed in the first year, I would have to be stuck in the first year until I passed that particular module. You're not going anywhere.
You're not proceeding.
You're not proceeding. You're stuck. So now I'm stuck in the module. I am stuck in my life. I have nothing. I have seemingly nowhere to turn to, right? And I'm struggling. Basically, I am struggling with everything that I am doing. I try to go to church. I feel I'm lost. No one understands what I'm going through. So I will say I backslid. I literally stopped going to church. I remember the whole of 2016, I didn't go to church. Not because the church had done anything to me. Please note, they were just suffering from the backlash of what was happening in my life.
Okay.
So I just stopped going to church. And I remember I would travel, but the one thing that I would do is I would travel once every week because I was a bit far because of school. I'll travel once every week or after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but I would make sure that in a month I have gone once or twice to see my son.
All right.
The minimum that I could. So I don't know where I used to get the money to travel, but
Okay, but somehow
I would always travel to an extent that people started calling me Petronella.
Hey. I know that term. Yeah.
Yeah. So as that was happening, I remember I was one person that I would overshare.
Okay.
So it was more of a defense mechanism where I would share what I want people to know about me and not share the deepest, most things that hurt me or things that I would say talk to me or things that are me. So I would give. There was a time when I was, I think 2016. I used to overshare. I remember mentioning a friend of mine that I used to talk to. So this friend of mine, how we became friends, it's because we were mutual friends. Her friend was friends with my friend.
All right.
So they would meet and they would talk, and we were in the sidelines, right? But then we would see each other and be like, okay, like, oh, I see you, hi, and then we have nothing else to talk about.
Typical girls kind of behavior. Huh?
Typical girls type of behavior. And then one time, because of, I actually thank God that I went through that time where I would overshare. I remember the one time I went. I called this the. It's our friendship bench.
Okay.
So the College of Health Sciences, right? There's a bench that is directly opposite by the bus stop where you would wait. So I was done with my with my lesson for the day. Remember, now I'm repeating my anatomy that I had failed the previous year. Yes. So I'm now doing that, and I have a friend. I have my friend. Oh no, she was not my friend yet.
Okay.
So I then go. Oh, yeah, it's very hard for me to think about her life before I met her. But so I then go and I sit by the bench. Mind you, I was supposed to be going home by that time. I stayed very close.
Okay.
I was actually close to school. So I'm there and I'm like, okay, I just want to rest for a bit. And I see she's there. And then I just start sharing. So there's this, oh yeah, this was happening in my life. And then this is, and then I met this person. And do you know what they say to me? And mind you, this is someone who I just see, we don't talk, and that's it.
But somehow you are just opening up to them.
I was just opening up to her because I could open up to my family. But there are times where you want someone who's not in the situation, because mind you, my family is in the same situation with me.
Yes.
They are going through the heartbreak with me, right? They now see my son is at home. With my son being at home, it means what I am going through as a single parent, they're also going through it because they are there for my parent, my son as well. So I'm there and I'm sharing what is happening. Please note, she's not one of the easiest person or people actually that you can go to and start a conversation with. We usually call her the friend with the principal's face.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. So I then go to her and then we start talking, and she's like, "Oh no, I have another class that I have to do." And I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Mind you, are supposed to be home." I'm like, "Oh no, don't worry, I'll escort you to town." Mind you, I stay close to school.
Hey, but you're going to town.
I was like, "I'm going to town. Let us go. I'll be waiting for you. Let's talk." So I had found my escape. Lucky for me, that escape was a trustworthy one. Okay. It was a loyal one. It was a place where I could be myself and express myself without being shy.
Oh, okay.
She didn't judge me. And then I told her my story because I now felt comfortable, right? So instead of me telling her the safer stories about me, I then told her what happened. Oh. And then she comes to me one day and she's like, "But why is it that there's a rumor that is going around that is saying you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is what happened?" And then she tells me that at that time I was very, very confrontational. And I would make sure that if anyone says anything about me, I would fight my battles. I had no issues fighting my battles. But sometimes over-fighting of battles then affects you because you're strained, you're stressed, and you're always on defense, you're always on guard, right? Then she just told me, "Maji, just relax. You don't have to fight each and every battle. Exactly. Sometimes you have to leave it. We know what this person has said about you, so what? Is it true? No. So why are you all ruffled up? Just leave it, let it be. That is their perception. Check them, remove them from your life."
Because usually people are bound to talk when things like that happen.
Exactly.
Or, okay, when a young lady is in a situation that you are in.
Exactly.
But also I'm thinking the idea of talking, people always say that women in particular, you guys are more, you're like free to share. And that's what gives you guys a longer lifespan than us men. You see, because I could be having a problem and I'm trying to talk with a guy. The only thing that you'd hear is, "Mawanunda."
Exactly.
And we could be talking for, a conversation could be happening, but everybody will be their faces will be faced on the ground. Nobody does anything. But women, they touch each other, they comfort each other, they cry. A woman is not even shy to cry in front of another woman.
Exactly.
Now that's amazing. And I'm thinking maybe that's probably exactly what was happening to you as you were sharing with your friend.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And I feel sometimes, when you actually mentioned this, this is one of the reasons why you see that rates of suicide, rates of substance abuse have actually gone up.
Yes.
If I tell you, people ask me, "Maji, you're so outgoing, you're so this, you're so that, but why is it that you do not drink? You don't do this?" And the one thing that I always told people is Proverbs 22 verse 6, right? I will always stand back or go back to family. I remember, and church being a pillar. I remember as a pathfinder, I cannot sing please, I will not sing to save my life.
Okay.
I cannot sing.
Oh, is it?
So I remember, but as a pathfinder, because they're trying to nurture and see which
Talents.
exactly which talents you have. They tried to give me a solo, so for me to sing.
Oh, jeez.
And I still remember my solo part very well. It was a verse, right? Proverbs 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he'll never depart from it.
Exactly.
So I remember my mom had a way of teaching me. If I tell you that my mom never bit me, my dad never bit me. There was one time that my mom almost did hit me.
Really? Really?
Yes, there was one time.
Okay,
Like there was one time that I remember that my mom almost hit me, and then I ran outside the gate, but it was very cold, so I think the motherly instinct then kicked in.
Okay.
Yeah, the motherly instinct then kicks in, and then when I came back, I was now doing what she wanted me to do, right?
All right.
And it was gone. She didn't do anything. So it actually did help me in a way to say there's instant justice with my mom. If you do something, it was instant justice. Or she would tell you, Maji, don't do this. If you stop, it's okay. If you then continue doing that, then you face it. But anyways, let's move back to my friend. I was digressing.
All right.
Because of your comments.
All right.
So moving back to my friend and how she actually helped me. So she then just helped me to be calmer, to be more composed, to be less rowdy, to actually look at the situation and look at it at what it actually is like. What is this situation? Is it trying to provoke me? Yes. If yes, do you want them to win? No. Then just stay out of it. Is this situation trying to provoke me? No. It's just my perception. I perceived it wrongly. So do I need to do this? No. I back out.
Okay.
Right? But does this situation need me to be here? This is affecting or this is traumatizing my child. Do I need to tell them to back off? Yes, I'll do that.
All right.
So it was more how she taught me, because remember I told you she had that principal face, and I was this outgoing. I feel like we balanced each other out, because it was very hard and very difficult for people to talk to her. If she's my friend, she'll be, oh, baby, oh yeah, right? And then someone else comes and she's like,
okay. Oh, okay.
right?
She got a serious face on.
Exactly.
All right.
And then when you leave, immediately you hear laughter. And she's like, what's going on? So we were trying to balance each other out. We're like totally polar opposites of each other. So we then just started trying to help each other to grow. But then in my journey of growing, I remember when she went there, she just started saying, Maji, I'm now going to church. Right? And I was like, oh, I'm not going to church too. Right? But it was like, oh yeah, I attended this service today. I'm like, oh, okay, I attended as well. And if I tell you we attended church at first, I am telling you we were vain. I am not going to deny it. We just wanted to wear cute outfits.
So that was just the thing.
Initially. But look at me, look at her. Like, we are now at a different spiritual level. The thing is, there's never a time that you visit the house of God and come back unchanged.
Sure. You're never going to come back the same.
Exactly. So we were not the same. So we then kept going. And they're like, Sha, you know what? The same one that was there today. Oh, you know what I was talking about? He was talking about Daniel. I never looked at Daniel from this perspective. He was explaining how Daniel prayed for 3 weeks. And then I'm like, how many times did I pray for me to be financially stable, right? Or as something seems to be unanswered. Like, I had a lot of unanswered prayers that I had, right? And I'm like, you know what the pastor said today? The pastor said, sometimes it takes time because this happens, or maybe the devil. You remember the time where he fasted for like 21 days, and there's no answer, but he's very earnest in his prayer, right? And there seems to be no answer that is coming, right? But then an answer then comes from Michael. I'm forgetting the correct answer. I don't want to lie, but if you then read the whole passage of Daniel, I was like, you know what? And I remember my favorite verse in Daniel being Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. where it then talked about being excellent in everything that you do and Daniel having an excellent spirit. And then I was like, hold on. To actually have an excellent spirit.
Okay.
You know, so that's me now. So for me to be able to have an excellent spirit, I actually had to be sound mentally as well.
Okay.
Was I sound? I would tell you I was not.
So it seems like slowly but surely you were cultivating a faith, and
Yes.
this faith in God is growing
Yes.
slowly, you know, gradually, and now you're becoming more into church and everything, and
Yes.
your friend is there by your side,
And we are both growing in
in
Christ.
Christ. So you went on to finish your studies,
Yes.
and how long did it take you to find employment?
Actually, that is actually quite, for me to tell you how I finished my studies is quite important.
Okay.
So what then happened? Remember, I told you that I was very close with my dad. So being close with my dad, it meant I was dependent on him to a certain extent that was higher than normal.
Yes.
So my dad, I mentioned he passed away, right? So he now passed away in 2018, right?
Okay.
In April, I was about to write my exams again.
Hey, tragedy strikes again.
Again. So the good thing is my continuous assessment was perfect. Like it was good. I had distinctions. Like I was flying, I was cruising.
Okay.
And then while on attachment, I just received a call. Your dad is not well. Come home. Ask for time. I then asked my supervisor. Luckily, he then allowed me to actually go. He then I then go there, and he passes away. After he passed away, I remember there was a time then. Yeah, I remember a time when I couldn't write my dissertation. I tried writing. I couldn't. I was failing to cope, right?
Okay.
And I just accepted that I was not gonna write the dissertation. I wrote everything else. I had distinctions. Like I had distinctions, but I could not focus with the dissertation or on the dissertation because it required me to exert myself into it. With the continuous assessment, I had learned all this stuff. They were there, right? I actually remember one time an exam question then comes in, and it was exactly the situation or how my dad passed away.
Okay.
Like it was there, and I'm writing my exam, and I'm crying.
Oh.
I did have a distinction
Hey.
because it was close to home. I know it's a dark humor, but yeah. So I then do that. After that, then I didn't write. I then finished 2019. I'm doing my dissertation. With then COVID hits. Again, there was COVID. And I was trying to balance now because with the dissertation, I was now trying to sell clothes. I was trying to sell anything that I can get my hands on that I could do. I was trying to do that so that I'm able to take care of my son. I'm able to pay my rent. I'm able to do anything that I'm... Yes. Right. If I tell you how I got the job, I remember just coming up to you, someone, I come up to you and I'm like, I had a dream. Okay, let me not say it for another day. Let me not say it. But then it was immediate. Let me just say I was employed immediately. It was immediate employment. I will not dwell in my dreams.
Did this person know your story?
Yes, this person, because I had a few people that I talked to and who knew stuff about me. So I just found people that I could trust. And if there was a time that I felt that you didn't give me what you call this, like tangible, solid help. I didn't say I wanted money because I always believed that I can work on my own. I can make my own money. I can do everything. Not everything alone, but I can do anything. You know, the whole You can do all things to Christ who strengthens you.
Mm,
So
sure.
I never had that mentality for, but yeah, I then had people that I would talk to that would help me. As a, as a person, you are a therapist, but you're still a person.
Exactly.
You do need a place where you vent.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just someone who then said, "Oh yeah, I can relate. I can talk to you." But I think that is what happened to me, and that is how I got to where I was. And for a time, I never for a time doubted or felt bad about having my son. If anything, it actually
Strengthened you.
It actually strengthened me. It actually molded me and gave me the character. It was more like you are thrown into the fire. I remember the crucible.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, no,
Yeah. And my friend, I remember one friend saying, "Maji, you are a true definition of meekness in the crucible. It's your time now. Accept that things happen to you that are good as well. They might not be lavish, but they're still good, and accept that." Wow. And you were meek, you were there, you were strong in Christ. In whatever way that you could be, you tried to be strong in Christ.
Wow.
So that's basically me as a person. Like I said, it will take a long time for me to talk about myself.
I guess it was worth it. I guess it was worth it. And so many lessons that I'm picking out from your story. And sometimes, struggles come from all angles. Sometimes even when you don't even, when you least expect it, yes. You feel like, no, last year I didn't write. Now I'm about to execute this thing and, get it over and done with. And then another tragedy strikes.
And just imagine all your colleagues or classmates are now ahead of you. Exactly.
And it's more of a job kind of situation. And wow, but nonetheless, we know that our Redeemer liveth. And here you are, you're smiling, you're bubbly, you are occupational therapist, you're doing very, very well. And now this is an inspirational story for a lot of young ladies out there. To know that, it's not what happens to you that matters, but it is how you react to it.
Exactly.
All right. And I always reiterate those words in my shows, and I'm sure it's very, very true. Yeah. It is very, very true. So I'm sure you're a living testimony, and hopefully that your story, Maji, has inspired somebody out there. I guess that's what this show is all about. That's what the Compassionate Couch is about. It's about having real life stories that are going to impact somebody and at least give someone some hope. Yes. All right. So I guess maybe right now we just have to call it a day. Yes. We're gonna be here. Maji is still here. In fact, she's always gonna be here to discuss several issues. Make sure that you do get in touch with us. We've got through our details. We're gonna give our details at the end of the show. So make sure that you stay with us. And even you need prayers, you need something. You probably you have a question for Maji. Feel free to get in touch with us with the details on the screen. So my name is Malvin Makichi. Allow me to say adios, ciao, ciao. We out of here.